This video is all about how to stay safe online. In this video, we'll go over some of the things you need to look out for while using the internet. Even though the internet is a wonderful tool that lets us connect with friends and family, access entertainment, pursue education, and generally get by in today's world, it can also be dangerous if we're not being careful. The nature of the internet is such that it's often difficult to tell if a person or website that you're accessing is who they say they are, or if the information they give is accurate or truthful. Because of this, there are many people who use the internet, and the anonymity it provides to stalk, scam, or otherwise injure people. The first step in avoiding being scammed on the internet is understanding the nature of scams. As with much in life, the adage, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, goes a long way here. Scammers prey on the fears or desires of their targets to get them to do things they otherwise wouldn't do. Some scams that focus on fears use threats of fines, jail sentences, or, ironically, computer viruses to get victims to hand over their credit card details, social security numbers, or other personal information. Those who use victims' desires do so through promises of sex, easy money, or jobs to lure in their victims. Regardless of how the scam works, the target is usually the same, either your money or your personal information, which enables the scammer to go after your money. So, what does a scam look like? An online scam can look like many things. It can look like a legitimate advertisement or a contest announcement. It can be a website saying, "Congratulations, you're our millionth visitor!" You aren't, and you haven't won a prize. A common tactic in online fraud is to redirect a visitor from one website to another posing as a legitimate business, often using the logo or name of the business. Other tactics include unsolicited messages from strangers, often indicating or implying romantic or sexual interest. There are also virus warnings, which tell you that your device has been infected and the only way to remove the virus is to pay money. This last category of warning is always a scam, even if the warning knows the type of device you're using. So, for example, let's say you're using a Samsung Galaxy S10, and you're browsing the internet, and a pop-up shows up that says, "Warning, your Samsung Galaxy S10 is infected, and you must disinfect it right away." That's a scam. So just because something pops up and it knows information about the device you're using doesn't mean it's legitimate. A good way to recognize and avoid these scams is to have a look at the address bar at the top of your browser. The address of a website is known as a URL. While it's not necessary that you understand exactly how URLs work, it is important to understand a couple of key points. Every website has what's known as a domain. The domain lets you know who you're getting your information from. For example, Netflix can be accessed at netflix.com. If you go to a website's homepage, the URL will end with the name of the website, like netflix.com. However, if you navigate to a page within that website, there will be additional information following the domain. This additional information always follows a /. That's this one. You can also see it on the screen. If you don't recognize the name of the website or the domain you're expecting doesn't end before the /, that's a good indication that you might want to be really careful with what you view and what information you provide to that website. On the screen, you can see some examples of suspect URLs. All of these domains are an effort to trick you into providing your personal information or username and password to a scammer. Knowing what to look for can help keep you safe. In addition to verifying the domain of the website you're visiting, there are some other useful tips to avoid modern-day scams. First, don't send money to anyone who sends you an unexpected request. Whether the request comes via email, text, or phone call, you should never provide your personal information or send money in response to a request you're not expecting. Similarly, the IRS or other government agencies will never, ever call you to settle a debt. If you receive a call claiming to be from the IRS, it's a scam. It doesn't matter how many times the person on the other end of the line threatens you with jail time or that there's a warrant out for your arrest. I promise you, it is a scam. Next, If a job offer requires you to pay money in advance, it's almost certainly a scam. Thirdly, be careful how you pay for things you purchase online. If you choose to make purchases online, you should be careful how you pay for them. Often, scam artists will ask you to wire money to them through Western Union or MoneyGram, or they'll ask for a cashier's check or money order. They do this because these methods of payment are really difficult to track and they're nearly impossible to recover once the fraud's been discovered. Any legitimate online purchase should be made through a credit card, debit card, or an online payment processor such as PayPal. Finally, don't ever deposit a check or accept money from a stranger asking you to wire money back. A common scam involves an offer to share money with you in exchange for sending a portion of the check back to the sender. While this sounds like easy money, it's not. Eventually, the check or wire transfer will turn out to be fraudulent, and those who fall for the scam end up being responsible not only for the portion of the money that they kept, but for the portion that they sent to the fraudster as well. Now, let's talk a bit about secure passwords. Besides avoiding scams, it's important to protect your personal information with a strong password for each account that you use online, particularly for important accounts like banking, benefits, your email, and your mass liberation platform account. Your email is particularly important because anyone with access to your email can use it to reset the other passwords. For a password to be good, it needs to accomplish a few things. A good password should be unique, difficult to guess, and easy to remember. It's important to have a unique password for each of your various accounts. That way, if an account is hacked or your password is revealed in another way, the damage is limited to that single account and it doesn't open up all your information to an attacker. Difficult to guess means two different things when it comes to a computer password. First, it means a password should be difficult for someone who knows you well to guess. So that means it shouldn't be your birthday or the birthday of somebody else you know, an anniversary, a nickname, names of your friends, your family, your pets. These are all really bad passwords because they allow somebody who knows you or even somebody who searches for you online to easily guess your password. Difficult to guess also means that it should be difficult for a computer to guess. This one's a little bit more complicated, but it takes into account that computers can guess different passwords at an extremely high speed, up to 1 trillion guesses per second. This means that your password should never be a single word or a common sequence of numbers. Easy to remember means that you can recall the password when you need it without having to write it down. Unfortunately, most people are not good at coming up with passwords that meet all three of these criteria, and the problem only gets worse when we consider that today, most people have many dozens or even hundreds of passwords that they need to remember for online banking, for entertainment, social media, shopping, and every other type of online account. There are some good options to help with both generating good passwords and remembering them without carrying around a notebook full of passwords. An excellent resource for generating a password that fits all of these criteria is what's known as Diceware. Diceware is a system for generating random passwords that are easy for people to remember. See the website on the screen. There's also a link to the Diceware website below this video. Each time you use this tool, you can generate a new, unique password that's both easy to remember and difficult to guess. For remembering and storing passwords, there are many password managers available. Modern web browsers on our phones and computers will offer to store passwords for us. That way we don't have to remember the password for each website we use. Other password managers, such as LastPass, take care of both generating and remembering passwords. For the best security, you should use a password manager and protect it with a strong password, such as one generated by Diceware. Below the video, you will find links to both Diceware and several password managers. In addition to strong passwords, there's another way of protecting your accounts, which is called two-factor authentication, or 2FA. 2FA works by requiring an additional piece of information beyond your password and username to log into an account. Generally, that comes either in the form of a code received by a text message or generated by an application on a smartphone. If you're using an application which offers this, it's highly recommended you use it, particularly for important accounts such as banking or your email. With 2FA enabled, even if an attacker has your password, they won't be able to log into your account without also having access to your phone. You can never completely eliminate all risks. However, you can take steps to minimize some of the biggest risks involved with common scams. Here are some additional things you can do to protect yourself and your information. Guard your personal information closely. If someone asks for your social security number or other personal information, ask them why they need it, how they're going to use it, how they're going to protect it, and what happens if you don't share it with them. Protect your mail. Your mail is often an easy target for an identity thief because it contains your personal information, like your name and address, and it's easy to get. Sign up for direct deposit. This gives thieves less access to your information because paychecks and checks for public benefits don't go through the mail anymore. Clean up your financial trash. Destroy all pieces of paper containing your personal information before recycling them or throwing them away. Review your financial accounts regularly and carefully. Contact your financial institution immediately if there's a discrepancy in your records or if you notice an expenditure that you didn't make. Review your credit reports at least once a year. Carefully check your credit reports for any activity you don't recognize. You can request a copy at www.annualcreditreport.com. Ordering your credit reports does not affect your credit scores. Make sure you keep important documents secure. This applies to both paper and electronic documents. Make sure you regularly watch for unexpected transactions or communications that could indicate your identity has been stolen. Warning signs of identity theft include withdrawals from your bank account that you didn't make, missing bills and statements, merchants refusing your checks, credit card transactions that don't go through when they should, letters about accounts you didn't open, emails about purchases you didn't make, statements for credit cards you don't have, the IRS notifying you that more than one tax return was filed in your name or that you have income from somewhere else that you never worked. Last, notification about a data breach. No single step or set of steps can keep us completely safe online and safe from scams. But by being aware of the potential dangers and taking steps to avoid the most common online risks, we can make ourselves safer and have one less thing to worry about.